What happens when a K-pop idol's world collides with innocent family moments, creating waves that shake the entire entertainment industry? The answer came crashing down on fans worldwide when BTS's youngest member, Jungkook, made an unexpected decision that left everyone stunned and questioning everything they thought they knew about the group's dynamics. In a move that nobody saw coming, the global superstar brought his young nephew to the iconic Hybe building, setting off a chain of events that would leave even his own bandmate Jin completely speechless and emotionally overwhelmed. But here's where the story takes an absolutely heart-wrenching turn that will leave you questioning the true cost of fame and military service on family bonds. Jin, who had just returned from his mandatory military service, came face-to-face with Jungkook's nephew for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, only to discover that the little boy he remembered had transformed into someone completely unrecognizable. The emotional reunion that followed wasn't just touching, it was earth-shattering, revealing hidden truths about how much the members had missed during their time apart and raising serious questions about the sacrifices these global icons make for their careers. What Jin said next will absolutely shock you and might just change everything you thought you knew about BTS's family dynamics. Sources close to the situation reveal that Jin's reaction wasn't just surprise. It was a profound moment of realization that sent shockwaves through the Hybe building and left staff members scrambling to understand the emotional weight of what they had just witnessed. The eldest BTS member's words, which we'll reveal in stunning detail, not only captured the hearts of everyone present, but also exposed the deep emotional toll that military service and intense schedules take on these beloved artists' personal relationships. The story begins on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday morning at the Hybe Corporation headquarters in Seoul's Yongsan district. Staff members were going about their usual routines when suddenly, whispers began spreading through the corridors like wildfire. Jungkook, known for his spontaneous nature and deep family connections, had arrived at the building with a special guest. His nephew, whose identity had been carefully guarded from the public eye for years. But this wasn't just any casual visit. It was a moment that would soon become the talk of the entire K-pop industry and beyond. The young boy, whose age sources estimate to be around 8 years old, walked hand in hand with his famous uncle through the gleaming hallways of Hybe, his eyes wide with wonder at the impressive facilities that have become synonymous with BTS's incredible success. Employees couldn't help but notice the striking resemblance between the child and Jungkook, from the same bright, curious eyes to the way they both carried themselves with a quiet confidence that seemed to run in the family. The sight was both heartwarming and surreal, as fans around the world had rarely been given glimpses into the personal lives of their beloved idols. What made this visit particularly significant was the timing. Jin had recently completed his mandatory military service, a milestone that every South Korean male must fulfill, and had only just begun readjusting to life back in the entertainment industry. The emotional weight of returning to his career, reconnecting with his bandmates, and stepping back into the spotlight had already been overwhelming for the eldest BTS member. Little did he know that this ordinary Tuesday would bring an encounter that would shake him to his very core as Jungkook guided his nephew through the various departments of Hybe. From the recording studios where BTS had created some of their most iconic hits to the practice rooms where they had perfected their legendary choreography, the young boy's excitement was palpable. Staff members later reported that the child asked countless questions about his uncle's work, showing a genuine curiosity about the music industry that both impressed and amused everyone who witnessed it. The innocence and enthusiasm of youth contrasted sharply with the high-pressure, adult world of K-pop stardom, creating moments that were both beautiful and bittersweet. The turning point came when the duo approached the area where Jin was working on his post-military projects. The eldest BTS member, focused on his tasks and unaware of the surprise heading his way, looked up to see Jungkook approaching with the young companion. At first, Jin's expression showed simple curiosity about who this child might be. But as recognition slowly dawned on his face, the transformation was nothing short of dramatic. His eyes widened in disbelief, his mouth fell open, and for several long moments, he seemed completely frozen in place. "I can't believe how much he's grown," Jin whispered, his voice barely audible as he stared at the young boy who had once been small enough to fit in his arms. The last time Jin had seen Jungkook's nephew was before his military enlistment, when the child was just a toddler taking his first steps and barely able to string together coherent sentences. Now, standing before him was a confident, articulate young boy who had experienced years of growth and development during Jin's absence. The emotional impact of this realization hit Jin like a tidal wave. Here was living proof of how much time had passed, how much life had continued to unfold while he was fulfilling his military duties. The nephew who had once babbled incomprehensibly now spoke in complete sentences, asked thoughtful questions, and displayed a personality that was uniquely his own. For Jin, who had always been particularly close to Jungkook and had cherished their family moments together, this encounter served as a stark reminder of the sacrifices that come with both military service and the demanding world of entertainment. Witnesses to the scene described what happened next as one of the most touching moments they had ever experienced at Hybe. Jin, overcome with emotion, slowly approached the young boy and knelt down to his level. The child, who had been somewhat shy at first, gradually warmed up to the man his uncle had told him so much about. The conversation that followed was a beautiful blend of catch-up questions, gentle teasing, and genuine affection that showcased the deep bonds within Jungkook's extended family. But the story doesn't end there. As the visit continued, more revelations emerged that would further shock those in attendance. The young boy, it turns out, had been following his uncle's career closely during Jin's absence, watching music videos, learning dance moves, and even attempting to sing along to BTS songs. When he demonstrated some of Jungkook's choreography for Jin, the eldest member's amazement was evident to everyone present. Here was a child who had grown up in the shadow of global stardom, yet remained grounded and genuinely excited about his uncle's achievements. The implications of this visit extended far beyond a simple family reunion. For fans who had been eagerly awaiting content featuring the reunited BTS members, this unexpected glimpse into their personal lives provided a different kind of satisfaction. It humanized these global superstars in ways that carefully crafted social media posts and interviews never could. The genuine surprise, joy, and emotional vulnerability displayed by Jin reminded everyone that beneath the polished exterior of K-pop idols lie real people with real relationships and genuine feelings. Industry insiders were quick to note the significance of Jungkook's decision to bring his nephew to Hybe. In an industry where personal privacy is fiercely protected and family members are typically kept away from work environments, this gesture spoke volumes about the trust and comfort level within the BTS family. It also highlighted the changing dynamics within the group as they navigate their post-military service era and work to maintain their close bonds despite the challenges of individual schedules and personal growth. The conversation between Jin and Jungkook's nephew continued for nearly an hour, with the young boy asking questions that ranged from silly to surprisingly insightful. He wanted to know about Jin's military experience, about the differences between performing on stage and recording in the studio, and about what it felt like to be famous. Jin's responses were patient, thoughtful, and filled with the kind of warmth that fans had come to associate with the eldest BTS member's personality. One particularly touching moment came when the young boy asked Jin if he had missed his uncle Jungkook while he was away. The question, asked with the innocent directness that only children possess, clearly caught Jin off guard. His response, delivered with visible emotion, was a heartfelt acknowledgement of how much he had indeed missed not just Jungkook, but all the personal moments and family connections that his military service had required him to put on hold. As news of this encounter began to spread through Hybe's internal networks, staff members found themselves discussing not just the surprise visit itself, but the broader implications of what they had witnessed. Here was a reminder that the members of BTS, despite their global fame and incredible success, remain deeply connected to their families and committed to maintaining those relationships despite the demands of their careers. The fact that Jungkook felt comfortable enough to bring his nephew to their workplace spoke to the family-like atmosphere that the group has cultivated over the years. The visit also highlighted the unique challenges faced by K-pop idols when it comes to balancing their public and private lives. While fans around the world know intimate details about their favorite artists' professional achievements, moments like these remind us that there are entire chapters of their personal stories that remain hidden from public view. The growth of Jungkook's nephew during Jin's absence served as a powerful metaphor for all the personal milestones, family gatherings, and quiet moments that these artists miss while pursuing their careers. From a cultural perspective, this encounter also reflected the deep importance of family relationships in Korean society. The respect and affection shown between Jin and Jungkook's nephew demonstrated the strong bonds that exist within extended Korean families, where older members often play significant roles in the lives of younger relatives. Jin's genuine surprise and emotional response to seeing how much the child had grown illustrated the pain that comes with missing important developmental years in a young person's life. The afternoon continued with Jungkook giving his nephew a comprehensive tour of the Hybe facilities, with Jin joining them for portions of the visit. The young boy's reactions to seeing the recording equipment, the dance studios, and the various spaces where BTS had created their music provided everyone present with a fresh perspective on their work environment. Through the eyes of a child, the impressive technology and luxurious facilities became sources of wonder and excitement rather than simply tools of the trade. During their time together, Jin shared stories from his military service that were appropriate for young ears, describing the discipline, friendships, and personal growth that had characterized his time away from the entertainment industry. The young boy listened with rapt attention, asking follow-up questions that demonstrated his genuine interest in understanding this important chapter of Jin's life. These conversations provided Jin with an opportunity to process his own experiences while also connecting with the next generation of his extended family. The emotional impact of the visit continued to reverberate throughout the day. Staff members who had witnessed the reunion found themselves moved by the authenticity and warmth of the interactions they had observed. In an industry often criticized for its manufactured emotions and calculated public relations moves, this spontaneous family moment stood out as refreshingly genuine and deeply human. As the visit drew to a close, Jin made a promise to Jungkook's nephew that he would make more effort to stay connected with the family, despite the demands of his career. The commitment, made with characteristic sincerity, represented more than just words. It was a recognition of the importance of maintaining personal relationships, even in the face of professional pressures. The young boy's excited response to this promise served as a reminder of how much these connections mean to family members who often sacrifice time with their famous relatives.